Ollie, can I borrow some money? I'm gonna order a pizza since you took my food again. Oh, you're buying more Tesla stock? Oil? What is going on, guys? Will here. Welcome to the video. Today is all about meal prepping on a budget because a lot of us, we just don't have time to cook, and when we don't have time, we resort to fast food, and then we're like, we might as well go get chips. Then after that, you're like, we might as well counteract the savoriness and get something sweet and get ice cream. Then we get home, we start funneling Walden Farms, just this downward spiral that you don't want to be in coming from experience. So I'm gonna show you guys 3 different recipes, a breakfast option, a lunch option, and a dinner option, so you have something for every meal of the week. These recipes are delicious, nutritious, easy to make, and most importantly, easy on your wallets. So I like to start my mornings off with something quick, handheld, and expands when warm, and that is a muffin. It is a staple in many people's breakfast, but guess what, guys? It is horrifically bad for you. Like, doctors say high blood pressure is like the secret killer. No, it's a muffin. Like a Starbucks muffin is like 440 calories, full of sugar, full of fat. That's like 2 Boston cream donuts. So moral of the story is have a donut over a muffin, okay? So I'm gonna show you guys how to make a savory quinoa egg muffin. So let's get cooking. Okay, so we have the oven preheated at 350 degrees, and these are the ingredients that you are gonna need. So starting off with some quinoa, you're gonna need 1 cup, a superfood high in protein, great choice to have in the morning. We also have some eggs, you got some brown eggs here, have white eggs if you want. I like an inclusive muffin. Also, we have some cheese, use any cheese that you want, 30 grams of cheese. And this is pretty much like the things that you absolutely must have. And then the other stuff here is pretty much where you can just make whatever you want to, use any vegetables you want, any seasonings that you want. If you wanna throw in some meat, by all means throw in some meat, you know what I mean? So we got some garlic powder, salt, pepper, a little bit of dried oregano, and then some spinach. I have some frozen spinach. Feel free to use fresh spinach, peppers, tomatoes, you guys get the idea, any sort of vegetable that you want. And then I have an onion as well. So I just happened to have 1 cup of cooked quinoa in my fridge, just conveniently. So we have 1 cup of cooked quinoa, and we're just gonna start putting everything together. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna have to do is cut the onion in half. We're going in with half an onion, and then the full entire pack, 300 grams of frozen spinach. All right, so our spinach mixture is finished. I'll let it sit aside to cool. So now let's work on the other part of the muffin. So this may look like a litter box, but I can assure you it is quinoa. In this, we're gonna go in with 2 large eggs here. 2, perfect. Give it a little mix up. Now we're gonna go in with 30 grams of some cheddar cheese. It acts as the glue, and I like a sticky muffin, you know what I mean? So feel free to use mozzarella, any sort of cheese that you want, it's all good. So I'm just gonna eyeball that, which is around 1/3 of a cup. Gonna drop that in, perfecto. And then we're gonna season it up with obviously the go-tos, pepper, obviously pepper and salt to taste. Good. Garlic powder is a must on pretty much everything. Around half a teaspoon, I'd say. Perfect. So up next we have some dried oregano. I really like to cook with like dry herbs, so feel free to use like dry thyme, basil. Tarragon's very good with eggs, but just went with some oregano today just to switch it up. So another like half teaspoon to a teaspoon of oregano. Good, and then now we're gonna add in our spinach mixture. Looking all beautiful and healthy. Gonna get you some big arms like Popeye. And that is the mixture. So now we're just gonna evenly combine everything together, and then we're gonna shape them into some muffin shapes and then put them into the tin. It should make around 10 muffins in total. Now you can totally go in raw with just a little bit of oil, but I prefer to wrap it up because sometimes it's just not worth the risk. So we're gonna use some muffin tins just so it doesn't stick. So we managed to get 12 beautiful muffins here. So like I said, oven is preheated to 350 degrees. They're gonna go in for 15 to 20 minutes. The fumes in this kitchen is just extraordinary. So the calories per muffin, you're looking at 90 calories, 4.5 grams of protein, 12.5 grams of carbs, and 2.5 grams of fat. Serving size, I would say, is around a 2 or the tray if you're me. So we're gonna let these cool and let's move on to some lunch. All right, so unlike my search history, I'm not here to make things harder. This is actually simpler than the breakfast one. So we're making a root vegetable ground chicken stew. So I pretty much make this actually every single night for dinner, as you guys can see by that array of butternut squash over there. So what I have here, it might look like a Dragon Ball from Game of Thrones, but it's actually a rutabaga. Then we have a butternut squash and some white turnips. We have our root vegetable threesome. And then on the side, just the odd man out, just the zucchini, just for some more volume, and I love zucchini. So what you're gonna have to do is equal parts all of these root vegetables, so 450 grams and then 250 grams of zucchini. So what I like to do is I like to cut all of them in like fry shaped pieces so they're very thin and they just cook a lot faster. So I just cut the butternut squash in half and then cut them into pieces like that and then just into very thin strips. So just like that is completely perfect. So after pretty much it seems like an hour of cutting, we are done. We have all our root veggies cut up. So now it's time to season it before we put it onto the stove. So I'm gonna go in with some salt, just to taste. I like a lot of salt. Good. Some pepper. Now, of course, garlic powder. I tend to use the same seasonings all the time, guys, as you guys can probably tell by now. So a good amount garlic powder. And then my favorite spice on the planet, a good amount of cumin. And now we're just gonna toss this so all the veggies are coated. Perfecto. Now we're gonna go to the sink and just a little bit of water at the bottom of the pan. Good. Now we're gonna go onto the stove. Put it on a high, cover it, and that's it. All right, so the root veggies look ready to go. They're nice and broken down. So now it's time to add the meat. So just like me, this pot will accept any meat that you put in it. So I'm going with some ground chicken because it was on sale, $3.99, but feel free to put beef, elk, bison, turkey, whatever you can find that's like the best deal, just go with it. So I'm gonna go in with just a full pound. And this thing just cooks fast. You don't have to just really do anything, just drop it in. I usually just add a little bit of salt and pepper on top of the meat. And then we're gonna cover the lid again. And it's just a waiting game at this point. Okay, so the root veggies are in, the meat is in. So this pot alone does not have that many calories. So if you're looking for some more insulation, you wanna jack the calories up, I'm gonna show you guys how to make a very, very good tahini dressing to go on top of the veggies. So obviously you're gonna need tahini, great for cooking, great in the bedroom. So we're gonna go with 2 tablespoons of that and then equal parts water. So 2 tablespoons tahini and 2 tablespoons of water. Good. And what the water is gonna do is just gonna give the tahini a little bit more volume because tahini is just obnoxiously high in calories. And if you actually use how much we're gonna make right now, you'd be blown up a little bit, you know what I mean? So 2 tablespoons water, 2 tablespoons of tahini, now a teaspoon or so of some lemon juice. Just hit it a little bit, good. And then just some seasoning, again, a little bit of cumin, just a dash, and then just some chili powder. Again, just a little dash. Let it sit for a bit, it gets all creamy and delicious. All right, I think she is done. For some reason I tend to talk to my foods as if it's a girl, but here we go. Woo. Oh yeah, wow. Take a look at that. Unreal. And you see this juice? It is the best part. It's like the closest thing to holy water. All right, so now what I do is add some freshness to the stew. So I add some fresh herbs. So I have some parsley here. Just gonna sprinkle it in. It adds a really nice element to the stew. And then just mix it all up. And then we're gonna let it sit aside and cool. And now all we have left to make is some dinner. Okay guys, so it's time to make some dinner. So I can't speak Spanish, I can't speak Italian, but for tongue dexterity, I'm constantly working on rolling my R's. So if you can't speak it, you eat it. So what we're gonna be making is a Mexican lasagna or a Mexican bake, if you will. I don't know what to call it, so call it what you want it. So what you're gonna need is, again, 2 pounds of the cheapest meat that you can find. I found Rachel, I just saw her, she was cheap, and I was like, I have to taste her. So I got 2 of those. We got some frozen vegetables. They're great, super cheap, great option, and they're actually very fresh. They pretty much just take them, the farmer takes them, puts them in the bag, freezes them, so they're pretty damn fresh. Got some canned black beans, and then got some canned stewed tomatoes. Again, obviously we're going with some cumin, some chili powder, because Mexican fiesta, you know what I mean? And then we got some tortillas here. I got these 3 for $7, so super, super cheap. Got some cheese and some green onions. So we're gonna put this all together right now. Again, very simple, so let's do it. Okay, so for this recipe, everything is just happening in this pan right now. So just added half of the onion from the first recipe. Now we're going in with 2 Rachels. So 2 pounds of meat. Now we're gonna go in with 2 teaspoons of some ground cumin. 1, 2, and then we're gonna go in 2 tablespoons of some chili powder. 1, 2. So we're gonna mix this all together and let the chicken get brown. And once it gets brown, we then add in half the can of the stewed tomatoes, 1 cup of the frozen corn, and then a full can of the black beans that I strained. All right, so for the lasagna, you're gonna need 2 cups of cheese, any cheese that you want, but I found this taco flavored cheese that intrigued me, so we're gonna go with that. If I can open it, hopefully. There we go. Let's give it a little taste test. Taco flavored cheese. I was expecting it to be a little fishy, but pretty good. So we're gonna go 2 cups, which is 180 grams. So cheese is good, all weighed out. So now it's time to address these tortillas. So we're gonna go with 8 of them. And I'm gonna cut them into halves or to quarters, kind of whatever I wanna do that day. The world is your kitchen, guys. Do whatever the hell you wanna do. You choose the cheese, you choose the meat, you choose everything. There's no rules in here. 8, perfect. Right in half, and quarter. Okay, so the meat is all nice and brown, so now it's time to add the other goodies. So we're gonna go in with around half the can of the stewed tomatoes. Fire roasted tomatoes work great as well. Okay, it looks about half, good. Now with the 1 cup of the corn. Pinto beans work as well too. Just black beans tend to be the gateway bean. Let it simmer for another 5 minutes and then we assemble the lasagna. Okay, so time to assemble the lasagna. It smells like I'm at Cinco de Mayo right now. Okay, so what we're gonna do, a very thin layer of the meat mixture at the bottom of our greased pan. Now we're gonna hit it with a little bit of cheese. And then now we're going in with some of our tortillas. And now we're just gonna repeat that process until we fill the whole tray up. So the lasagna has been assembled. So now we're going into the oven that I preheated at 425 degrees for 15 minutes. And then we take our lasagna out and it's perfectly cooked. And just for garnish for the lasagna, I'm gonna top it off with a couple of green onions just to make it look good. Because you know, taste is 80% eyes, guys, like I always say. You wanna make things look pretty before you eat it. Oh yeah, look at that. Nothing turns me on as much as bubbly cheese. Take a look at that lasagna. So now what we're gonna do is let that cool, but I also wanna top this off with my green onion. And another thing I like to do after I cut them into pieces is I'll top it off with actually Greek yogurt or sour cream. Greek yogurt if you want some more protein. Just a nice really creaminess component. Goes with it really, really well. So that is all of the dishes. I'm gonna let this sit and cool. I still haven't worked out yet. I was supposed to go to the gym, but the gym has doing those time slot things, so I didn't get a time slot today. But we are not gonna complain. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna do a no equipment, minimal space workout, and I'll show you guys what I do. So like I said, no gym, but that's no problem. So a lot of us don't have the access to a gym right now. We have very minimal space and no equipment. So instead of not doing anything if you can't go, make it work. We're gonna be doing 3 different circuit style things. The first one we're doing is a leg circuit, starting off with single leg squats for 1 minute, and then we're gonna go right into 1.5 squats for 1 minute, followed by jump squats for 1 minute. So this circuit is the only one that has like timed minutes instead of just reps, because I find with legs, you're not actually gonna hit like muscular failure with the weight that you have available at your house. I'm using a backpack, by the way. So yeah, that's why I like to like accumulate fatigue with a lot of like time under tension with like a 3-minute set. And let's do it. So that was the first set. So we're gonna rest 1 minute between sets. And while I'm resting, I'm just gonna do some calf raises. So you might not be able to do 1 minute right away. Once that hits the 1 minute, 2 more rounds. Blue Star PPK, 10E10, 10% off. You always need pre-workout for any workout, no matter what. Doesn't need to have weights involved. That was the end of the leg circuit. Don't underestimate that one. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is move on to an upper body one consisting of a variety of different push-ups and a pull-down variation. Okay guys, so time for circuit number 2, starting off with just a regular push-up with the backpack on. We're gonna do 15 reps. After that, we're gonna take the backpack off and then do alternating twist push-ups, around 6 to 8 per side. And then we're gonna remove the handles and grab a mini towel. We all have a rag in our room or something like that. So just, you're gonna go to the floor, stomach down, kind of be in Superman position. And you're gonna have your arms straight out, pulling as hard as you can. And you're gonna come back up to your upper chest, squeeze, and then extend forward 15 reps. Again, 3 sets. Okay, so this next push-up, it's pretty much just mimicking like a cable fly or something by adding that actual twist at the top. So 6 to 8 per side, and it looks something like this. So you're gonna come down, and then twist to one side, back down, twist to the other side, down. Now onto the lats. So you wanna make sure you pull this as hard as you possibly can. So fully extended. Squeeze. 1. Whew. All right. Again, we're just gonna rest minute to minute and a half and get back to it. Okay, well that was circuit number 2. Wow. That's actually harder than a lat pull down because it doesn't allow you to cheat at all. So the next thing that we're gonna do is kind of like an upper body and a lower body circuit to wrap it all up. Okay, so we're adding butternut squash to the backpack for some more resistance for this next one. So we don't only cook with it, It's multi-purpose, guys. Root vegetables are just king. Okay, so for the next circuit, what we're gonna be doing is pike push-ups, which are really good for the shoulders. So what you're gonna need is like an elevated chair, preferably something like this. If you don't have one, you can totally use a couch. It's just a little bit easier this way. And we're gonna come here, feet elevated. Come down. So you're gonna do 12 reps of that. And then we're gonna put our backpack on and we're gonna do reverse sprinter lunges. So it's really good for the posterior chain and your hamstrings. You're just gonna come back, down, touch, come back up, alternate. We're gonna do 10 per leg. And then finishing off with just some backpack, bicep curls. Focus on the squeeze at the top, come down really slow. 15 reps, 3 sets. Now for these ones, you really just want to focus on a big squeeze at the top, controlling it on the eccentric. All right, guys. Well, that was the workout completed in just a little over 25 minutes. So I don't have a squat rack, I don't have a bunch of dumbbells, don't have cables, but it is what it is, you gotta make it work. I mean, it's better than doing nothing, that's for sure. So it looks like the lasagna is now cooled, so we're gonna plate everything up and show you guys what we have for the week. And just like that, all of our dishes are plated up. So for breakfast, I have 2 of the quinoa muffins. For dinner, we have a slice of the Mexican lasagna. I topped it off with some Greek yogurt just for some more protein. And then for lunch, we have the ground chicken and root vegetable stew. So even if you're super busy, if you have a couple hours to spare on a Sunday, you have yourself a delicious, nutritious, high quality, and very cost effective breakfast, lunch, and dinner that can stay in the fridge for a very long time. So let me know what you guys think. Give them a shot. They'll be listed in the description in all the detail. So that is gonna wrap up this video, guys. If you guys enjoyed it, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one.